Whose house do you dwell in? Well, in the legal world, if you're using a legal title, and we're always trying to clearly have you understand that there is two things going on that have merged. We've put truth in with fiction. So the fictional part or the legal part is that house name or that household name that the legal system always requires. Why they want to know where you are and what that name is when they're basically communicating with you. It's mainly because of the fact that the jurisdiction that is required to run the mathematics and the bookkeeping for the legal requires a surname. And therefore, they want to know who is actually in whose house. So, in the sense of a legal house, the legal surname is that house name. So, when you're operating in that legal civil system, you're deemed to be or judged to be in Caesar's house, and therefore Caesar basically requires a fee, a fine, or some form of remuneration for the use of that house. So we're not here to debate is this something that Caesar should receive. When we're looking at scripture, we know that Jesus was not anti-tax, and in fact he was telling people to render to Caesar what was Caesar's. Certainly didn't tell people to render to Caesar what is God's, but certainly Caesar was required to receive what was Caesar's. So if you are privately using something that belongs entitled to Caesar, you are required to pay for its use. And until we get this through our minds and our hearts, it's very hard to move on in good faith, because there seems to be a movement out there that says they'd like to basically feel that Caesar is ripping them off. But that's not really the case, because Caesar has the right in the legal system to do as Caesar's rules allow him. Now, if you were running Caesar's world, you'd be operating rules also in order to collect on what you believed was your legal title or your property title, and therefore they're doing the same. So commerce has some very strict rules. Now, if someone wants to not be in commerce, now we're walking into a spiritual position. But from the majority of the conversations that I've had over the last several weeks, I'm noticing that the majority of people that are very upset with what's going on out there are mainly upset because their commerce is being affected. They're not upset because of just some moral issues going on that they believe their lives are being affected by. It is mainly that their commerce has been affected. And we have to really start questioning, are we basically caught up in treasures on earth? Is this the message that the spiritual disciples of Jesus Christ were to be caught up in? So for myself right now, I'm trying to remove at all cost, and I mean that, at spiritual cost, anything that actually brings me back into that realm of seeking that. Because I know that if I dwell in that legal realm or that legal framework or that legal house of Caesar, then of course I will never comprehend how to be in the proper house with my proper name, with the spiritual relief that is there. But you cannot be mixed in both and expect relief. So one side has to give, and it's not going to be Caesar, it's going to be you. And are you willing to give up all for your life? How much will a man give in exchange for his life, Scripture said? Well, I would hope that you would give up anything that is material for your life.